everyone, how's it going? This is Gwen and welcome to my sewing and DIY channel. Today in this video, I'll be sharing the fourth and final garment of the black and white stripes sewing series. To be honest, I wasn't even really sure if this garment would come to fruition because by the time I was done with the 50s inspired shorts in the last video, I was really only just left with small remnant pieces of this fabric. But I really wanted to have a fourth and final garment because I knew that would help to make my capsule wardrobe a lot more complete and it would give me a higher outfit yield for my capsule wardrobe. So I started thinking about the types of garments that I could make with just little remnant pieces. The first thing that came to my mind was a mask because of the unprecedented times that we're in. But I've already made a mask with the fabric, so I'm not going to make a mask again. And then I decided, well, since I'm going super 50s with this series, might as well make my favorite, the Simplicity 8130. For those of you who follow me on my blog and on my Instagram, you know that this is not the first time I'm sewing with this pattern. The first project that I made with this is the white bustier, and then I also used this pattern to make the bodice of my starburst tulle dress. And recently I also used this pattern to restyle my blue gingham blouse into this. With all the versions that I've made, I've always added a little pocket like this to put in a little bra padding because I'm part of the petite girls club, if you know what I mean. And I actually tried doing a small bust adjustment before, but I didn't quite succeed. But this time, I'm going to try doing it again and we'll see how I go. But it's still not enough fabric for me to squeeze out even this super cropped, almost like a bra version. So I gotta kind of use other scrap pieces of fabric that I have. And other than trying to do a small bust adjustment, I also decided that I'm going to change the closure. I've got a button closure on this one. And let me go get the white one. I also have the button closure on the white version, but this time I decided to make an elastic closure. So we're totally doing away with the buttons now. I feel like that would probably make it more comfortable to wear and easier to put on. I don't really have a lot of difficulties going around the back and then putting the buttons on. Can you see my hands? Yeah, but sometimes when I take a deep breath, especially when I'm about to sneeze, it gets kind of tight. And I'm the kind of person where my waist and my just upper abdomen just increases by like 1 to 2 inches right after a meal. So I decided to, you know, be kinder to myself and let myself breathe better and also just do a little experimentation. So we're gonna get started and yeah, let's just go. Just like the 50s shorts that I made in the previous video, I started off by gathering the remaining remnant pieces, cut them into regular rectangles, and then piece them together to see the size of the biggest piece that I could get. Originally, I wanted to have the entire center front piece to be made up of the striped fabric, but I really just didn't have enough and ended up having to divide the center front section in two. While I had the stripes in vertical orientation for all the other garments in the series, I cut the stripes in a horizontal fashion for this piece, hoping that it would give a little optical illusion of a bigger bust. For the bottom half of the center front piece, I used the black cotton from a muslin of a dress that I made many years back. I also used the same black cotton to cut out the side back piece. This side piece is about half of the whole back piece. I didn't end up having enough of this black cotton for the main piece, so I actually ended up using a black satin that I have in my stash for the main pieces. For the side front, I used a white cotton twill that I have in my stash for the main pieces and the lining pieces. By now you would have realized that I'm really just rummaging through my stash and making use of what I have for this project. I used the same cotton twill for the center front pieces for the lining. For the pieces for the bra insert pocket, I used a super lightweight tencel that I also have in my stash. And I just have about enough to make up the bra insert pocket pieces. The original pattern asks for interfacing to be added to both the main and lining pieces. But because I really wanted to save on my remaining interfacing that I have in my stash, I only applied the interfacing to the lining pieces. I sewed everything up pretty much per original instructions. Other than making the small bust adjustment, I'm also making changes to the boning placement. The original pattern only asks for the boning to be added to a small upper section of the princess seam and the rest of the lower half of the princess seam. But a lot of vintage bathing suits that I have actually have boning running across the entire princess seam. So I decided to try this method out to see if it would actually make any difference to the way the garment looks when it's worn. And this is how I sewed the bra pocket pieces into the lining. We're starting off with the left pieces. The left lining piece has the right side facing up, and then we're going to lay the left pocket piece with the wrong side facing the right side of the left lining piece. Then take the other pocket piece and make sure the right sides of both pocket pieces are facing one another, and then finally lay the right lining piece on top of the right pocket piece with the wrong side facing you. Then we're gonna sew all 4 pieces together along the center front seam, and you'll end up with something that opens up kind of like a book, and you will have the right side of the pocket pieces facing you. And when you actually reach your hand into the pocket, you should have the right side of the lining facing you as well. To finish the raw vertical edges of the bra pocket pieces, I made a double fold hem. And now we're getting to the part where I stopped following the instructions. Well, to be honest, I stopped following the instructions the second time I made this pattern. And this is really just the way I do it. I'm not sure what the instruction says. After sewing the lining pieces together and also the main pieces together, I placed the lining and the main piece together, right sides together, sewed them together just only along the top edge, and then I understitched the lining in place. And then after that, I sewed the bustier together with their right sides facing each other along the bottom edge. Once that was done, I turned it inside out. It was a little tricky at first because I kind of pulled on the bra pocket piece without knowing, and then there was also the boning that I had to deal with, but it can be done, trust me. And there you go, that's the little bra pocket over there. I forgot to mention this at the beginning, but for the shirring elastic section, I actually cut 4 times the length of this other half of the back piece of the bustier. So that's 4 times, you see?
Alright, this is really awful. I think I got some really bad shirring elastic, and this is really not working out at all because the shirring elastic keeps breaking as I'm sewing. So I have to try again, maybe this time with the white one that I've got. Also pretty cheap, not sure if it's gonna work. I have some good shirring elastic left from a project from a while back, so I'm also gonna try and see if this is gonna work out. Whoo-wee, I actually ended up having enough of that shirring elastic left on the little bobbin for this little piece. So the black bit is the part where I was using the black shirring elastic. That did not work. And the white bits are the shirring elastic that's left from a previous project. This is not my best work, obviously, but I've steamed this little piece and I think I'm ready to sew it on the bustier.
And this is how I sewed the elastic section onto the bustier. First, I folded the raw edges in by about 5/8 of an inch, and then I simply wedged the elastic section into the ends of the bustier with about, 5/8 of an inch that's wedged in between, and then I secured it in place by sewing straight stitches along the seam. And here's the big reveal! So, what do you think? I think this attempt of the small bust adjustment is definitely much better than my previous attempt. Look at that! I can stretch, I can breathe. This feels so different from all the other S8130 that I've made. I'm still trying to decide if this top is too loose. I can jump in it, I can shimmy in it, but it seems like I'll have to pull it up from time to time. I guess it's definitely not something I would wear to play beach volleyball in. Overall, I'm still pretty happy with how it's turned out. When I make this pattern again, I'll keep the small bust adjustment and the longer boning placement, and maybe take the top half of the center front seam in a little bit, so perhaps the top would sit closer to my chest. I might also consider having a shorter section of the shirring elastic, or even have it on the side back so that the top fits more snugly. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and my little hack of the Simplicity 8130 pattern. Let me know what you think about this top, and this is the final garment of the striped series. I'll see you in about 2 weeks time again.